It's the one question we've wanted a definitive answer to: are Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man: No Way Home? Now that the movie is out, let's break down what went down. Spoilers ahead. For months, there has been constant speculation about whether or not Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire would appear as their iterations of Spider-Man alongside Tom Holland in Spider-Man: No Way Home. Tom and Andrew have consistently denied the rumors in interviews over the past year. Spider-Man: No Way Home was released in theaters on December 17th, finally putting an end to the questions once and for all. The theories and discussions that took over the internet stemmed from the multiverse coming into play within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. When Alfred Molina, Willem Dafoe, Hayden Church, Rhys Ifans, and Jamie Foxx's villains from past Spider-Man movies were confirmed to be in Spider-Man: No Way Home, fans immediately being wondering if the heroes that took them down, Andrew and Tobey, would join them in the film as well. So, are Andrew and Tobey in Spider-Man: No Way Home? The answer is Andrew and Tobey are in Spider-Man: No Way Home. Yes, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in Spider-Man: No Way Home. They reprise their versions of Peter Parker/Spider-Man in the film. They return in the wake of Aunt May's tragic death at the hands of the Green Goblin. MJ and Ned are trying to find Peter, but he's nowhere to be found. Ned, who still has Doctor Strange's sling ring, opens up a portal hoping to find his Peter. Related gallery. Zendaya, Tom Holland and more stars at the Spider-Man: No Way Home premiere, photos. When he opens the portal, Ned and MJ are introduced to a different Spider-Man, the one played by Andrew. When MJ asks who he is, Andrew explains that he is Peter Parker in his world. Andrew's Peter is fascinated by this new reality. MJ asks him to prove that he's Peter Parker. He ends up crawling around on the ceiling just to show them. Ned and MJ realize Ned opened up the wrong portal to the wrong Peter Parker, so they decide to try again. This time, they're introduced to another Peter Parker, the one played by Tobey. Andrew and Tobey's Peters meet each other for the first time, and they immediately web each other. Tobey says that he's been feeling that Tom's Peter Parker needs his help ever since he got here. Andrew's Peter agrees with him. MJ and Ned take Tobey and Andrew to their Peter's secret hiding spot. The epic moment when all three versions of Spider-Man meet each other for the first time is more epic than you ever could have imagined. Tom is distraught over Aunt May's death, so he prepares to send the Peters back to their worlds. MJ makes him pause long enough for Tobey to admit that his Uncle Ben was killed, and it was his fault. Andrew reveals that he lost Gwen, who he says was my MJ. He adds, "I couldn't save her. I'm never gonna be able to forgive myself for that." But he realized that he had to move on, as that's what Gwen would have wanted. Tobey echoes the final words Aunt May said to Peter before she died, the same words Uncle Ben said to Tobey: "With great power comes great responsibility." Tobey tells Peter, maybe she didn't die for nothing. All three Spider-Mans decide to team up to cure the villains. While working on the cures, Andrew asks Tobey if he has a special someone. Tobey mentions his MJ and says it's a little complicated. He notes that it took a while, but we made it work. Tobey, Andrew, and Tom head to the Statue of Liberty to face off with the villains. The banter between the three of them is effortless. They all work together in a heroic fashion. For Andrew and Tobey, it's like no time has passed. In the midst of the fights, MJ is thrown off the scaffolding and begins to plummet towards the ground. Andrew's Peter Parker saves MJ. Tom goes after MJ, but he's swept away by the Green Goblin. Andrew gets his second chance after Gwen's death and is able to save MJ. He tears up after he successfully rescues her. Later, it all comes down to Tom versus Green Goblin. Tom is prepared to kill Goblin, but Tobey stops him before it's too late. Goblin ends up stabbing Tobey, but Andrew and Tom are still able to cure Goblin. As the sun rises, Tom has to make a gut-wrenching decision in order to stop other people from other universes from coming into his world. He asks Doctor Strange to make everyone forget him, including MJ and Ned. Doctor Strange stresses to Tom that it will be like he never existed. Tom agrees to the sacrifice. He thanks Tobey and Andrew for helping him in his time of need. They all share a sweet hug before Tom leaves to say goodbye to MJ and Ned. "I'll make you remember me," Tom tells MJ with tears in his eyes. Doctor Strange completes his spell, sending Tobey and Andrew back to their worlds along with the cured villains. Tom has to face his new reality alone and without Ned and MJ, but he'll never forget Tobey and Andrew's help when he needed them the most.